This happened 5 years ago. I was 32 and worked as a park ranger. I thought I knew those woods really well. My friends and I planned a weekend camping trip deep in the forest. We wanted to take a break from our hectic lives and reconnect with nature. We set up our campsite by a calm lake surrounded by tall pine trees. At first, everything felt peaceful, but looking back, I can't shake the strange things that happened that weekend. On the first night, we gathered around the campfire. The fire crackled and the flames warmed our faces. We joked and laughed, trying to forget the stress of the week. But then I heard something. It was distant laughter echoing through the trees. I paused and felt a shiver run down my spine. When it stopped suddenly, I brushed it off as the wind playing tricks. Yet unease lingered in the back of my mind. I tried to ignore it and wanted to enjoy the night. By the second night, I felt more uneasy. We had gone for a hike earlier, and as darkness fell, we returned to our tents. I noticed something odd. There were footprints around our campsite, leading off into the woods. They didn't look like any animal tracks I'd seen before. My chest tightened. "Did you guys see these?" I called out. They laughed and said I was imagining things, but I couldn't shake my worries. The next morning, I woke up to find our gear rearranged. My backpack was open, and my water bottle was placed oddly across the campsite. "Did one of you move this?" I asked. My friends shook their heads. That's when the laughter came back, louder this time, but still from a direction I couldn't pinpoint. My heart raced. I glanced at my friends, but they didn't see the concern on my face. I tried to act normal, but I felt terrified. By the third night, the laughter was even louder. I stared into the darkness, trying to push it out of my mind. We decided to turn in early, but I couldn't sleep. My thoughts raced with ideas of what could be hiding among those trees. I kept telling myself I was just imagining things. Then I heard it again. Someone, or something, was out there. I got up to check. My heart pounded in my chest. I stepped outside the tent, and as my eyes adjusted to the moonlight, I froze. There was a shape standing just beyond the tree line. I wanted to call out, but I couldn't get the words out. The figure was just standing there, watching us. My instinct screamed at me to run, but I was completely frozen. Then I blinked. When I looked again, it was gone. Years later, I still think about that trip. I wonder if we encountered something real in those woods, or if my mind was just playing tricks. The footprints were never explained, and the laughter still echoes in my memories. I can't shake the feeling that I was never alone. The fourth day after the camping trip, I felt worn out. I couldn't shake the memories. They lingered in my thoughts, surfacing during quiet moments. It gnawed at me. My friends seemed to forget, but I couldn't. I decided to revisit the campsite. Maybe confronting the memories head-on would help me make sense of it all. I drove back to the forest, my heart racing as I approached the parking lot. The trees towered above me, whispering secrets in the wind. As I walked down the path to the lake, every sound felt amplified. The crunch of leaves, the distant call of birds. But there was something else, too, an almost melodic hum. It sent a chill down my spine. When I reached the campsite, everything looked the same. The place where we'd set up our tents stood empty now. I felt drawn to the spot by the lake's edge. I remembered the serenity we had felt, but the happiness quickly faded as I noticed something new. There were more footprints in the dirt, like the ones I had seen a few nights ago. They were fresh and deeper, leading away from our site, but visibly distinct, unlike any animal tracks. I bent down, studying them. "What are you doing here?" a voice called out from behind me. I jumped and whipped around. It was an old man, dressed in a faded flannel shirt with a scruffy beard. He was leaning against a tree, watching me closely. I'm just looking around," I stammered, my pulse quickening. He eyed the ground where I had been crouched, then looked at me. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice gravelly but low. "This place isn't safe anymore." "What do you mean?" I asked, my curiosity now outweighing my fear. "There are things in these woods, things that used to belong here long before us. You've heard the laughter, haven't you?" His tone was serious, and my stomach twisted. "It calls to you. You need to heed the warning." I wanted to ask him more, but he stepped back into the shadows, his eyes glinting with unease. "Leave before dark," he muttered. Just like that, he vanished into the trees. I stood frozen, processing his words. I had encountered something real, and I had been warned. But warned about what? Ideas raced through my mind as I tried to understand what he meant. I glanced at the footprints again. They looked too large for any human. But what did I know about what lived in these woods? Then, as if in response to my thoughts, I heard laughter. A playful sound, too high-pitched and disconcerting. It echoed from deep within the trees, and my stomach dropped. I was no longer in control of this situation. Without thinking, I turned and sprinted back down the path, my feet pounding against the dirt. I needed to get out of those woods, out of reach of whatever had been watching us. As I reached my car, I looked back at the trees one last time. Shadows danced, and the laughter continued, ringing in my ears like a grim reminder of my encounter. But as I pulled out of the parking lot, something rustled in the brush behind me. I turned to look just in time to see a pair of eyes staring back at me from the undergrowth. My breath caught in my throat. That's when I realized I wasn't alone. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, nervously glancing in the rearview mirror. Those eyes, they glinted like the sharpest knives, watching me as I reversed out of the lot. Panic surged within me. I slammed the car into drive and sped away, leaving the campsite and that eerie laughter behind. The road wound through the trees, and I felt the weight of the forest pressing against my car. Every rustle, every snap of a twig made my heart race. I couldn't shake the feeling that something followed me, lurking just beyond the edge of my vision. I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, but deep down, I knew I had seen something. After a few minutes, I reached the main highway and let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. I could still hear that laughter echoing in my mind, chilling me to the bone. I glanced at my phone. It was nearly 4 in the afternoon, but the shadows were starting to stretch, darkness creeping in. Back home, I plopped on the couch, my skin prickled with unease. I thought of my friends. They would be here in a few hours, but I wasn't sure how to explain what I had just experienced. How could I tell them I was scared of a forest? I pulled out my laptop and did some quick research on the area. Just as I expected, stories surfaced. Someone had come across a local legend about strange creatures in the woods, fairy-like beings that could mimic human voices. They were said to be mischievous, sometimes leading people astray. My stomach churned again. Just a myth, I muttered to myself, but doubt taunted my thoughts. I leaned back on the couch, trying to shake off the feeling that something was coming for me. At that moment, a sharp knock on my front door snapped me back to reality. I jumped up, every bit of nerves roaring back in an instant. I knew it was too early for my friends, but I opened the door, heart racing. It was a neighbor, a friendly woman from down the street. "Hey, just checking in. You looked a little shaken earlier," she said, her smile faltering when she saw my face. "I'm fine, just some things on my mind," I replied, forcing a smile. But she wasn't convinced. "You should be careful. They say the woods are different, especially this time of year." "What do you mean?" The woman hesitated, glancing back toward her house. "Just strange happenings. You hear things. It's best to stay clear after dark. You know how rumors get around." Her words rang in my ears. I backed away, shutting the door slowly. "Thanks for the warning," I said quickly, locking it behind me. I had a fleeting urge to call my friends, to tell them the truth, but what could I say? I felt like I was losing it. That's when I heard it again, the laughter. This time it was clearer, realer, echoing straight through my living room window. My blood ran cold. Without thinking, I darted to the window, the cold fear gripping my chest. I peered outside, but saw only darkness creeping over the street. Just as I turned to step away, movement caught my eye in the yard. I squinted into the shadows. That's when I saw it. A fleeting figure darted behind a tree, too quick and too small to be human. My heart raced once more as I grabbed my phone to call someone, anyone. But as I pulled it out, the power flickered, plunging the house into darkness with an ominous silence. I wasn't alone anymore. I froze, holding my breath in the darkness. The laughter faded, but the air felt charged with something I couldn't name. I had to move, had to know if the figure was real or just a figment of my frayed nerves. I fumbled for my phone, trying to bring up the flashlight. Nothing. The screen stayed black, and a wave of dread washed over me. Just as I was about to abandon my search, I heard it again. An unmistakable giggle, like a child playing a game. It echoed through the stillness, wrapping around me like a sinister shroud. This time it sounded closer. My heart thundered in my chest, each beat shouting at me to stay inside, to hide. I took a step back from the window, but curiosity gnawed at me. I edged to the door, my pulse quickening. Maybe it was just a raccoon or something, I told myself. I needed to know. I cracked the door open, the hinges squeaking softly in the silence. Outside, shadows danced across my yard as the wind rustled through the trees. I peered into the darkness, the old streetlight flickering weakly, casting long, wavering shadows. Every instinct screamed at me to close the door and wait for my friends to arrive, but I felt tethered, compelled to step outside. "Hello?" I called, my voice shaky. No answer, just the whisper of the trees. I took a few cautious steps, heart racing, and scanned the yard. That's when I saw it. The figure, small and quick, slipped into the neighboring yard. A chill washed over me, but I followed instinctively, my feet carrying me forward before I could think better of it. As I crossed the property line, the laughter returned, this time more high-pitched.
My chest tightened. "Is someone there?" I shouted, wishing the bravado in my voice would take away my fear. To my left, I caught a glimpse of something light flickering, like a firefly, but it lingered too long in one spot. I approached cautiously, my breath quickening. With every step, anticipation surged. Just then, my foot caught on something unseen, and I stumbled into a patch of tall grass. I winced as I fell, my palms scraping against the ground. Before I could catch my breath, the flickering light darted away, leading me deeper into the shadowed yard. I scrambled to my feet, determination surging. I had to see what it was. I moved stealthily, edging around bushes and trees, finally coming to a clearing where the glow intensified. It danced playfully before me, swirling and flickering like a will-o'-the-wisp. My breath hitched as I stepped into the light. But just as I did, it vanished, leaving behind nothing but a chilling stillness. Panic surged in my chest. I turned to retrace my steps, but the shadows grew thicker, swallowing the warmth of the flickering streetlight. "Where are you?" I called out, my voice echoing back eerily. That's when a deep, throaty laugh rang out from behind me, a sound so menacing it made my blood run cold. I spun around, but there was nothing there. The darkness shifted, and I felt a cold rush press against my back, a presence that hinted I wasn't alone. Then I heard whispers, multiple voices overlapping, muffled and melodic. I stumbled back, looking for an escape. As terror washed over me, I turned and ran, back toward my house, desperate to escape the oppressive grip of the unseen laughter. I burst through the door and slammed it shut, locking it tight. Slumping against it, I tried to catch my breath, heart racing, but the whispers and laughter filtered through the cracks, lingering in the dark. Now I truly understood. I shouldn't have gone into the woods. I shouldn't have laughed along with whatever was hiding just outside my reach. What I had dismissed as myth was now a confrontational reality, and reality had claws. I wasn't just afraid anymore. I was in danger. I pressed my back against the door, the smooth wood feeling like my only shield against whatever was outside. The laughter had faded, but the whispers remained, growing softer, yet more insistent, like the distant echo of a haunting melody. It gnawed at my thoughts, intertwining with my fear. I needed to devise a plan, something, anything to keep me safe. With a shaky breath, I moved away from the door and turned on my phone, praying for a flicker of light. The screen blinked to life, illuminating the dim entryway. I could feel the anxiety tightening in my chest, yet I couldn't stay cooped up forever. I needed to figure out what was going on. Still clutching my phone like a lifeline, I made my way to the kitchen. My
eyes darted toward the back window. The yard beyond was cloaked in darkness, but I could see the outlines of the trees shifting in the wind. A feeling of dread washed over me. I had come too close to something terrifying. Then it hit me. I needed to call someone. I dialed my friend Laura's number, desperation creeping into my thoughts. It rang and rang. I hung up, my heart sinking. I tried Jess next. Again, no answer. What if they were already on their way? What if they were stuck in traffic? My stomach twisted at the thought of being alone much longer. Suddenly, a loud crash broke through the stillness, coming from the back of the house. My blood ran cold. I froze again, straining to hear over the pounding in my ears. Another crash. The sound of wood splintering echoed through my home. Adrenaline surged through me, and instinct kicked in. I crept toward the living room, keeping low, trying to remain hidden. "Who's there?" I called out, voice trembling. It felt pointless, but I needed to sound brave, just in case. There was silence for a moment. Then another laugh, this time much closer and deeper, like a chuckle meant for my ears alone. My skin crawled. I peeked around the corner, the hair on my arms standing on end. The back door was wide open, swinging slightly in the wind. The soft glow from my phone illuminated the area, casting long shadows that shifted with each flicker. And that's when I saw it, a figure standing just outside the threshold. Chills ran up my spine. It was small, but unmistakably human-like. It stood still, just watching, eyes glinting in the dim light. I squinted, trying to make out a face, but all I could see was a wild mess of hair and a mouth twisted in a grin, too wide for comfort. "Hey," I managed to stammer, trying to sound authoritative. "Get away from there." I stepped out of my hiding spot, heart racing. The figure only stared, unblinking. Without warning, it darted off into the shadows, vanishing into the dark yard. The laughter returned, echoing around me, taunting me. My instinct screamed to run, but I stayed rooted to the spot, caught in the headlights of fear. Then I noticed something on the ground where the figure had stood. I cautiously walked toward it, my breath catching in my throat. It was a toy, a small, tattered stuffed animal, something I recognized. It had been my sister's favorite when she was little, lost years ago during a family camping trip. The memories flooded back, each one a knife twisting in my gut. I picked it up, shaking slightly as I turned it over in my hand. "What is this doing here?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. Suddenly, I felt the air shift behind me. The cold presence returned, suffocating the space. I turned, heart pounding, knowing full well I wasn't alone anymore. "Get out!" I yelled, the fear spilling over. The whispers rose to a crescendo, and just as I thought I might break, the lights flickered and everything went dark. I stumbled backward into a wall, my heart racing in my chest. The darkness swallowed me whole. My phone's light flickered, barely illuminating my surroundings. Panic tightened around me like a vice. I jabbed at the screen, desperately trying to regain some sense of control. Come on, I muttered to myself. The screen blinked, then faded. I cursed under my breath, smacking it against the wall, willing it to work as fear clawed viciously at my thoughts. Then I heard it, a faint rustling, like someone, or something, navigating through the kitchen. My instincts screamed for me to run, but my body wouldn't comply. I stood frozen, every muscle taut, listening intently. The rustling got closer, then stopped. "Hello?" I called out, hating the quiver in my voice. Silence wrapped around me like a shroud before laughter rippled through the air again, cold and mocking. It sent chills racing up my spine. I couldn't face whatever was making that sound, not alone. I had to get out of the house. I fumbled blindly in the dark, my hands seeking the edge of the doorframe. I took a deep breath, trying to silence the storm of panic swirling inside me. Step by step, I crept toward the front door. Just as I reached for the handle, a crash erupted behind me, echoing in the vast emptiness. "Stop!" I screamed, heart pounding against my ribcage. But no answer came. The silence hung heavy again. I pushed the front door open, and as I stepped outside, I was met with the cool night air. I took a moment to inhale, praying the basement was still locked, praying there were no unwelcome surprises lurking just around the corner. The yard was drenched in moonlight, a stark contrast to the darkened house. I looked backward, half expecting to see the figure from before emerge into the light. But the house remained still. Shadows danced behind the windows, hinting that I wasn't alone anymore. "Laura! Jess!" I shouted, hoping they would hear me. Hope flickered like a candle's flame, then faded into doubt. I started to move toward the edge of the yard, glancing around for anything or anyone. And that's when I noticed it. A path leading into the woods beyond my home. Curiosity tugged at me, but fear held me in place. What if the figure had gone that way? Or worse, what if something worse was still out there? My thoughts raced. I couldn't just stand there. I needed to know what was happening. With hesitation, I took a cautious step toward the path. As I moved, I caught sight of something glowing faintly on the ground. I bent down and picked up a small object, a charm bracelet, tarnished and linked with tiny, delicate charms. I recognized one of the charms immediately. It was a small star, just like the one my
sister used to wear. "Why is this here?" I whispered to myself, fear gripping my throat. Suddenly, the air grew colder, the laughter returning, echoing through the trees. I dropped the bracelet like it burned my skin and turned to run back toward the house. But the shadows flickered, and I felt a presence close behind me.
I could hear my own breath, ragged and quick, but the laughter grew louder, more insistent. I sprinted toward the front door, arms pumping, desperate to escape. But just as I reached for the handle, the door slammed shut, trapping me outside. A voice hissed from the darkness. "You shouldn't have come here." The voice echoed, chilling me to the bone. I froze, my back against the door, every instinct telling me to flee. But where could I go? The woods loomed behind me, dark, foreboding, and filled with unseen dangers. My heartbeat thudded in my ears as I scanned the yard. The moonlight cast long shadows, twisting the trees into wild shapes. I could feel something watching me, something more than just my fear. "Who's there?" I called, forcing my voice to steady even as it trembled. I dared to step away from the door, my eyes flickering toward the path behind me. That same path. It felt like a magnet, drawing my attention more than I wanted to admit. "Come play with me," the voice taunted, lilting in a way that made my skin crawl. It wasn't just mockery. It was an invitation wrapped in danger. I scanned the darkened windows once more, my breath caught in my throat. I wanted to scream for Laura or Jess, but fear choked the words before they could escape. Instead, I opted for a different approach. "What do you want?" I called into the darkness, hoping to draw out whatever had taken the form of that sinister whisper. Silence answered me, thick and suffocating. Then, from the corner of my eye, I saw movement at the edge of the trees, an outline darker than the night itself. "Stop!" I shouted, but the figure didn't respond. Instead, it beckoned me with a slow, deliberate motion. My gut instinct screamed danger, every cell in my body urging me to run, yet my feet were rooted in place. I didn't even know if I could scream anymore. Then, without warning, the figure melted into the shadows as quickly as it appeared. I blinked, trying to collect my racing thoughts. "What was that?" I whispered to myself. I took a few cautious steps towards the trees, curiosity battling fear. Just as I reached the path, I heard another laughing voice, softer but close. It was different, almost familiar, mixing with the wind like a lost echo. It gripped my heart. "Help me," the voice wailed, and it sent a jolt of ice through my veins. I slipped onto the path instinctively, my feet carrying me deeper into the woods despite the alarms ringing in my head. I had to find. Who was calling? I pushed forward, weaving through the thick branches, barely feeling the twigs scraping against my skin. The laughter faded, replaced by cries that pierced the night. It sounded like someone in trouble, someone who needed me. "Laura? Jess?" I called, desperation clawing at my throat. But I received no reply, just the persistent rustle of leaves and the twinkling stars above, watching silently. I ventured farther into the woods, breath becoming shallow. Then, everything went dark. A sudden rush of wind whipped through the trees, and I felt the weight of 1,000 eyes pressing down on me like the air had thickened. Shadows danced at the edge of perception. My phone was dead. No light, no comfort, nothing but thick blackness surrounding me. I stumbled backward, trying to find my way back, but the laughter returned, echoing from all directions. I couldn't tell where it was coming from. Suddenly, I knocked into something solid, and a chill slithered down my spine. Someone, or something, was right behind me. I spun around, gasping. That's when I saw it. 2 glowing eyes staring back at me from the darkness. I felt my heart pound harder as those eyes locked onto me. They were strangely captivating, glowing with an unsettling intensity that made my breath hitch.
I wanted to scream, wanted to run, but my body wouldn't cooperate. I was frozen, staring into the abyss of whatever was lurking there. "Who's there?" I asked again, voice barely above a whisper. The eyes blinked slowly, watching me with a predator's patience. My mind raced. Was it a deer? A bear? No, it felt wrong. The laughter stirred again, weaving through the trees, echoing my pounding heart. I wished I had left the campsite with Laura and Jess. I should never have come out here alone. Then, in a flash, the figure stepped closer, shadows parting like a curtain to reveal a silhouette. I couldn't make out its shape, but I could feel an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me. I took a step back, hands shaking. That's when the silhouette lunged forward. I staggered to the side, instinct kicking in now, and I turned to run. The laughter intensified, morphing into something sinister, mocking my retreat. The shadows closed in behind me, the branches clawing at my sides as I sprinted through the dark. "Help!" I shouted, desperation rising like bile in my throat. "Laura! Jess!" With each call, I hoped against hope that they would hear me, that they would come and pull me from this nightmare. But silence enveloped me. I broke through a thicket, and suddenly I was in a small clearing. The stars shone brightly above, but it didn't comfort me. It only highlighted the isolation. I spun around, catching my breath. The glowing eyes were no longer present, but the feeling of being watched was still there, heavy and palpable. In my panic, something glimmered in the grass, something metallic. I knelt down, my heart still.
It was a locket, dirty and old, half buried beneath the leaves. I flicked it open, and my stomach dropped. Inside was a picture of a girl, maybe 8 or 9, her smile wide and trusting. I didn't recognize her, but something about her eyes felt familiar. A chill swept through me, and I dropped the locket like it had burned me. Then, behind me, I heard it, the whisper of my name. "Get out." The hair on my arms stood on end. I whirled around, but the clearing was empty. Panic surged, and I bolted toward where I thought the campsite was. I was lost, disoriented. Every rustle felt amplified. Every branch felt like a hand reaching for me. I had to find them. Suddenly, the laughter returned, but this time it was different, instantly close and mingled with the cries of the girl. "Help me! Help me!" My heart sank as I stumbled forward, pushing myself beyond fear. I couldn't let whoever was calling suffer. Just before I reached the other side of the clearing, I saw a flicker of red light. I lost all sense of caution and ran toward it, thinking it might be a campfire, a sign of safety. The light grew brighter as I pushed through the last of the trees. But when I burst into the next clearing, I stopped dead in my tracks. The campsite was there. Everything appeared just as we had left it earlier that day. But it felt different. The fire pit was cold, the tents dark. Laura and Jess weren't anywhere to be found. And standing in the middle of the clearing was the girl from the locket, grinning wide as if she had been waiting for me all along. The girl's grin widened as I took a shaky step back. Her eyes sparkled with a light that felt wrong. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was somehow both a child and something far more sinister. "Where are my friends?" I croaked, my voice barely a whisper. She tilted her head, as if considering my question. "They're just hiding," she replied, her voice soft and sing-song, the kind of tone that should belong to a child playing a game. "You're not supposed to be here. You took too long." Confusion mixed with fear. Hiding? Hiding from what? The girl merely giggled. The sound sent a shiver down my spine. "From the dark." Suddenly, the air thickened, laden with tension, and I felt it, a presence lurking at the edge of the clearing. I turned, but my limbs felt heavy, like they were being weighed down by the shadows.
The distant laughter echoed around me, wrapping tighter, growing more frantic. "Get out!" a voice echoed in my head, combining with the girl's words. I had to move. Without thinking, I raced for the tents, practically flying toward the nearest one. Each step felt like wading through mud. I reached the tent and yanked at the zipper, but it wouldn't budge. I pulled harder, panic swelling in my chest. I could hear the girl's infectious laughter leaning into a high pitch, and the other voice in my mind screamed louder, "Get out! Get out!" I finally managed to force it open and stumbled inside. My heart raced harder than it had in the woods. I fumbled for my phone, praying for light, for hope, but it was dead. My throat thickened with dread. The silence weighed heavy, and all I could hear was my breath and the whispers hiding just outside. "Come outside, it's fun," the girl chimed from somewhere near the entrance. "You must see." "Stay away from me," I shouted, though the resolve in my voice felt weak. I pressed against the back of the tent, searching for a way out of this madness. Then, from the corner of my eye, I spotted a glimmer, something metallic lying amidst my gear. It was the locket, the same one I had found earlier. I snatched it up, noticing now it wasn't empty inside. The doll-like figure in the picture was the same girl who was outside. My heart sank. "Why are you here?" I whispered to myself, glancing around the dark tent. The silence outside felt like a waiting game, simmering with some hidden threat. "Because I want to play!" the girl shrieked suddenly, her voice sharp and mocking. I shoved the locket into my pocket and bolted. I ripped the tent door open, ready to face whatever was out there. But the clearing was empty, the girl gone, the laughter faded to echoes. Yet something caught my eye. The ground was littered with old, torn papers, like someone had scribbled notes and then abandoned them. I bent down, heart pounding, and picked one up. It was filled with frantic doodles of faces, eyes wide and pleading. And at the bottom, someone had scrawled, "They can't leave." My breath caught. The chill of realization swept over me. I had to get out. I turned back toward the thick trees, adrenaline coursing through my veins. The faintest hint of laughter floated through the darkness again, echoing my fear. "Find me," it beckoned softly, once more pulling me into the unknown. I bolted into the trees, not caring where I was going, just knowing I had to escape. The shadows enveloped me, wrapping around me like a shroud, but I pushed through, determined to leave the campsite and that girl behind. My heart thundered in my chest as I sprinted deeper into the forest, every snap of a twig or rustle in the bushes sending another surge of terror through my veins. "Get out!" the voice echoed in my mind like a relentless warning. At that moment, I knew a truth I had avoided. The woods were alive, in a way I could hardly understand, filled with darker elements than I ever wanted to confront. I stumbled through the underbrush, the cold air stinging my lungs. I had to find the path back to my car, to safety.
But every time I thought I grasped the way, I was met with another twisted route or an unforeseen obstacle. The laughter rose, circling around me, taunting and sinister. I could almost feel the weight of eyes on me, but each time I turned, there was nothing. Then, without warning, I came upon a clearing that felt unnaturally bright. Moonlight flooded the space, illuminating something that made my breath hitch. A circle of old stones covered in moss. They looked ancient, like remnants of some long-forgotten ritual. I stepped closer, compelled by a mix of dread and curiosity. Who had built this? What had they summoned? Suddenly, the air felt charged, as if something was waking. Echoes of laughter melded with whispers, pulling me in every direction. I could almost make out discernible words now, pleas layered under childlike giggles. My skin crawled, visions of trapped souls sifting through my thoughts. "Help me, please," The voices sobbed, and my heart lurched. I squeezed my eyes shut for a brief moment, steeling myself. I couldn't afford to give in to fear. I had to keep moving. I turned to leave the circle of stones, but as I did, the ground shifted underfoot. Roots that hadn't been there moments before snaked up through the earth, grasping at my ankles. I stumbled backward, recognizing it wasn't an illusion. How could I have been so blind? I managed to break free just as the darkness swirled at my heels. With every ounce of strength, I launched myself into the denser part of the forest, branches lashing against my skin as I pushed on. I had no idea where I was headed, but instinct guided me. I followed the scent of pine and earth, pushing away thoughts of lurking figures and shadows. Then, as if some unseen hand was guiding me, I broke through the trees and skidded to a stop. There was the path. Just a few yards ahead lay my car, a beacon of safety amidst the fear-laden woods. I didn't hesitate. I sprinted toward it, every muscle screaming, but not daring to slow down. But just as I reached for the handle, laughter erupted behind me, loud and wild. A swarm of shadows poured from the trees, coiling and writhing in the moonlight, a mass of pale faces caught in a mirage of glee and malice. In that frantic moment, I hurled open the car door, flinging myself inside and jerking the lock in one motion. My hands trembled as I fumbled for the keys, heart hammering against my ribcage as the sinister mirth pulsated around the car. I inserted the key and turned it, praying the engine would roar to life. A deep roar, followed by silence. My chest tightened. I turned the key again, and the engine sputtered, coughed, and then nothing. Panic bubbled up within me. No time, no time. I pushed the door open, ready to flee, but just then the car light flickered and illuminated the space beyond. The woods seemed to part, revealing a multitude of figures cloaked in shadow and mirth. Those gathered around the campsite, those who had once laughed with me, my friends, faces twisted into laughterless explorations of intrigue. "Join us!" Their voices beckoned, the chorus resonating with a mix of horror and yearning. Terror raced through me. I slammed the door shut, barked the engine one last time, and it roared to life this time. It mustered the energy for one last fight. I hit the gas, spinning the wheels in the dirt and tearing down the path, wading through the chaos. As my tires screeched against the gravel of the forest road, the vehicle felt like a lifeline. I focused on the headlights illuminating the narrow stretch ahead, drowning out the echoes, the laughter, the relentless shadows that trailed behind me. But as I tore down the road and broke free from the woods, something lingered in the deep recesses of my mind. The laughter hung in the air, like a melody that never truly dissipated. I glanced in the rearview mirror one last time, not out of curiosity, but because it was instinct, an automatic response to danger. The road behind me was empty, just darkness stretching into the forest. And yet I felt it, the tug of something vast and unknowable, like a verse of a song I couldn't quite remember. No completed tale, just infinite echoes of laughter, still whirling in the depths of the night, unresolvable and stirring something deep within me, begging to be heard. I survived, but the woods held their secrets, and I couldn't help but wonder, was that laughter simply a memory? Or was it something else, still calling, taunting from just beyond the veil of the trees?